loves, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I'm Nisa and I am so excited for today's video. Today's video is actually going to be episode 2 of our wedding series we have here on my channel, and I am so excited for today's topic. So we're going to be talking about 5 ways that you can save on your dream wedding. So number 1, and in my opinion, one of the most important big ticketed items that you can save money on if you take some more alternative routes is going to be your venue. Venues can be extremely costly. So here are a couple of alternatives to some traditional venues that are going to save you some big bucks. Number 1 in this category is going to be having your wedding in a public park or national park. This can save you tons and tons of money. Most public parks do not charge you to have your reception and or ceremony in the public park. They will just require you usually to have a permit, which can range anywhere from $25 to about $200 depending on the park. And I mean, if you're looking at $25 to $200 compared to $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and upwards, that is a big savings in my opinion. Another option is going to be a backyard wedding. Now, due to everything that has been going on in the world, we all know, I think that this has become a lot more mainstream than it used to be a couple of years back. A lot more people are starting to come around and love the idea of having a backyard wedding, especially if your guest count is not going to be extremely high. This is something that honestly you should highly consider, whether you have a very big budget or a smaller budget. Just because if you have a smaller guest count, then having a more intimate feel, such as doing it in your backyard or your friend's backyard, could be very beautiful. Me and Joshua kind of had a mix of a backyard wedding slash venue-ish wedding, and honestly we will get into all the details about exactly what options me and Joshua chose that are more traditional and more alternative in a different video. But I definitely will say backyard weddings are becoming a lot more mainstream. The next alternative venue option kind of ties into the last one with the whole backyard wedding theme, and this could be renting out an Airbnb. Now, this can be a backyard of a Airbnb house where then you also not only have a venue to have your ceremony and reception, but you also have somewhere for you and your bridesmaids and or groomsmen to get ready. So this could be very beautiful. Obviously, you'd have to look into talking to the host and possibly the neighbors to let them know that you guys are planning on hosting a larger group of people than normal, and making sure that this all checks out with not only the owners of the property but the surrounding neighbors, so that everyone is okay with what is going on and you don't have things like the police getting called because of noise going on later than normal in that community. So those are all factors that you have to kind of think about, but this could be a great option. And then also there is a tab on Airbnb that is actually specifically for finding venue spaces, photography spaces, anything like up that alley of just like renting a space out for whatever it is that you're doing. So you could also look into renting out an Airbnb. These tend to be a lot cheaper than your traditional rental venues due to them not having so much overhead cost, and usually they do not require you to use, you know, any of their chefs or catering or tables or chairs. So you can outsource all of those other things like tables, chairs, food, and save yourself a lot of money in the long run. So that is something to definitely look into. And then one of the final alternatives for a venue is definitely going to be good old traditional, having your ceremony at a church. and or your reception, depending on if they have a food hall in your church. Now, most churches, if not all churches, they usually, typically, especially if you're a member of that church, they do not charge anything for you to have your wedding at the church. It is usually just seen as a gift and a blessing for you and your soon-to-be husband or wife. So these are really inexpensive options for having alternatives for your venue, and they could save you thousands of dollars. So I would definitely highly consider any of these options. Just all depends on the style of your wedding that you're looking for. So number 2 on this list that can save you hundreds of dollars when planning your wedding is going to be food. Now, food can get super expensive very quickly. I mean, honestly, depending on how many people you have at your wedding, this could cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So here are some alternative options. The first one being to have a home cooked menu. So basically, if you have some people like close friends and family, such as maybe your bridesmaids or mom and dad, grandparents, who love to cook, want to contribute, and can take, 2 days before the wedding to prep and then cook a lot of the food for the wedding, this can save you tons of money. Now, mind you, if they want to do it as a gift, that's okay. If you want to throw them a little bit of money for it, it could still save you a lot of money in comparison to sourcing out food from catering companies. This could save you tons of money. It is going to take a lot of elbow grease and a lot of time, but if you have a couple of pockets of people that are willing to all pitch in very potluck style and come together to make up your wedding menu, then this could save you tons of money, and it's a way that you could have a couple of people who really want to help for your big day and be a part of that special day, have like a contribution. So I think this could be really special, especially if there's certain dishes that your family members are really great at making and that you love and your husband loves. So I think that this could be a really good option. And then another really good option is to do buffet style versus a plated dinner. This honestly is one of my favorite options. I think that this is definitely a lot more of a modern style service for your food and for your dinner being served. So me and Joshua actually chose to do this option when it came to our wedding. We actually did go through a barbecue joint that we love that's here in Nashville where we live. And we went and did all of the catering for our food through them. So they prepared everything. They delivered everything the day of with big utensils for everything, as well as they came in huge pans. And we just had the hot pans with the fire underneath. I'll post a picture because I'm not really good at describing what I'm talking about, but we had those set up so the food stayed warm throughout the entire time of our wedding. And we had tongs, and we did it buffet style where everyone just has their plates set out on the table and you get up in lines, and you can either have a couple of servers that you hire, or you could have everyone self-serve themselves. Now, we did have servers, so we had someone that was able to portion out the food very good, especially to keep in mind of how much food we had, because we weren't having live chefs there cooking the food, and we pre-ordered an amount that seemed good for our guest count. If you, however, are going to have your friends and family self-serve themselves without anyone looking over at how much people are portioning on their plates, I would say to always get at least double of what you think you will need, because people are going to be a lot more heavy-handed if they are making their own plates, and they probably will go up for seconds or thirds. So you definitely don't want to run out of food. You'd rather have a little bit more food and at the end of the night, rather than running out and it being kind of an awkward thing where someone doesn't get enough food. So yeah, that would be my only tip as far as buffet style. But I think it is 2022. People can get up and serve themselves on your big day, especially if you are talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of savings. This is definitely a great option. And then the last food alternative that I think is honestly kind of it was a no-brainer for me and Joshua, is to have a entree only dinner. Now this just means that you don't have to do a 3, 4, 5, 6 course dinner. Most people honestly are not even going to remember if you had hors d'oeuvres. They are going to pick at those tiny little, very not good salads that you give to them before the main. By the time that they finish watching you and your partner get married and sit through the entire ceremony, however long, 30 minutes to an hour and a half long your ceremony is, they are ready to eat. They do not care about any small snacky things before eating. They are ready to eat. So honestly, I think that it's kind of a waste of money and a waste of food to really do coursed meals. I think if you have a set entree, like a couple of things for the entree and then some dessert, I think you will be a-okay. And I think it's something that no one will really think of or be upset if you don't offer at your wedding. So I definitely think you could save hundreds of dollars there as well. So these are a couple of food related things that you should consider when trying to plan a wedding on a budget. So number 3 on my list, and definitely certainly right up there with a wedding venue, I think this is extremely important to take into consideration when you are trying to save money and or have a wedding on a budget, is your guest count. Now, this is very, very important because when you are talking about your guest count for your wedding, you're not only talking about having that person there, you are talking about paying for that person's meal, paying for the seat that they are sitting in, because you have to pay for those rental chairs and those rental tables, and those are not cheap. You're talking about literally paying for someone to show up and be present for you on this day. Now, I know this is very controversial because I feel like a lot of people have this pressure to have big numbers at their wedding, whether it's 200, 250, 100. Like, honestly, your guest count should not be based on any popular beliefs or popular opinions. I think that a guest count for every wedding should be purely and solely based on who you really want and really need there on your big day, who you want to witness this commitment that you are making to your partner, and who you want there to witness this very love-filled moment and milestone for you. I think it's nothing to take lightly, and I am definitely not a fan of just inviting people to invite people to your wedding. Now, to each their own, but if you are trying to look for some ways to save and be conscious of you and your fiance's finances while planning your wedding, some ways to really kind of reel in your guest count is to consider having a close family only ceremony and or reception. Now, this could mean that you genuinely might not want to invite friends, and maybe some of your really, really close friends that you consider family could be included in this, but cutting down to just family only can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, because you are now literally slicing the amount of food you have to buy, the amount of chairs you have to pay for, the amount of tables to hold those people in those chairs, and you're saving on decor for each chair, you're saving on silverware, plate sets, you're saving on napkins, you're saving on so many different things, considering that you have now probably sliced your numbers in half by doing a family only reception and or ceremony. Another rule of thumb I think that you could use to help knock down your guest count quite a bit and save some money is definitely to consider only inviting people who personally know you and your fiance. In my opinion, I feel like, okay, maybe if you have a couple of friends who live out of state and a couple of family who live out of state that haven't met your fiance in person, but maybe even met over the phone, then maybe yes, you want to allow those people the opportunity to be here to witness, especially if they're special to you or your fiance. But if we're talking about people that you went to high school with, people that you went to college with, who you maybe see once a year, maybe not even that much, then honestly, why send them an invitation to your wedding? They can see the photos on Instagram, they can look at the videos that you put up later on social media, but they do not have to be there. And in my opinion, it is definitely a waste of money, and you may talk to them a few times after getting married, maybe never again, so why even invite them in the first place? And the third alternative to knock down your guest count quite a bit or just manage it to save some money is to have a bigger guest count for your ceremony and a smaller guest count for your reception, or vice versa. Have a very intimate ceremony and a bigger reception. This could save you a lot of money, considering that especially if you're having your reception and ceremony at two different locations, you are not paying for double the amount of chairs, double the amount of tables. And yeah, this could just save you a lot of money because you would be able to get a smaller space for your reception or ceremony, and then maybe get a larger ceremony or reception area. Whichever way you decide to do it, it could definitely save you some money. So yeah, I think that is definitely another alternative way you can knock down your guest count to save some bucks. Number 4 is gonna be to save on your wedding dress and or your tux. Now, honestly, everyone also has their very personal opinions about the wedding dress and wedding tux, but these are some very good alternatives that you could look into if you want to have a wedding on a budget. So the first point that I want to make about saving money on your dress or tux is to think about getting something that is used or rent a tux or a dress. So I know some people may think, oh my goodness, I'm not walking down the aisle with a used dress, but let's really break it down and think about it. A woman is probably only wearing her wedding dress one time, which is on her wedding day. And if you buy a used wedding dress, you are most likely going to get it for 50, 60, or 70% off of the market value for that dress. So if the dress is in very mint condition because it's only been worn once, you maybe get it cleaned up just a little bit and it's good as new. Why not save that 50, 60, 70% on that dress or tux, as well as thinking about getting something that is rented. Now, mind you, you won't have it forever, but you do have pictures, and if you're not someone who's super sentimental about wanting to keep that suit or wanting to keep that dress, then maybe looking into some rental places might actually be a really good choice for you. This could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you have photos, so you can always go back and look at how fly you and your fiance looked on that day, and you don't have to break the bank. Another option, in my opinion, this definitely could work for anyone that's wearing a suit especially, is to look into some department stores. Instead of going to a custom tuck shop and or going to a very small local boutique for your dress, try thinking about maybe a department store like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, somewhere like kind of up that alley, Macy's, where they could possibly sell really nice suits for a lot more of an affordable price than going to a very local custom tuck shop where you're going to be looking at a lot of money. The same thing kind of goes for dresses, in my opinion, as well. If you are trying to save some money, definitely going with a dress shop that is more chain style, like a David's Bridal, is going to be a lot more affordable than going with one of your local boutiques that are not chained. They are going to be charging a lot more money, especially if you're looking for a dress that's a little bit more custom. They're going to charge a ton of money, and honestly, more local small shops, they have a lot more overhead and they are not as big, so they are naturally going to charge a lot more for their dresses. So in my opinion, looking into some department stores or chain shops for your dress or tux is going to save you lots and lots of money. And then the last way that I firmly believe that you can save lots of money on your wedding dress or your wedding tux is to get your suit or dress tailored instead of fully custom. Now, we actually did this for Joshua's wedding suit at our wedding. We bought his suit from a department store called K&G, and it was super affordable. I think his suit was honestly in total $120. And then we went and got his suit tailored by one of our favorite local tailors. And we also ordered some buttons off of Amazon that were gold, and it added a really nice accent, gave it a more polished, custom look. And we had our tailor take the original buttons that came on the suit off, and we had her put on the new buttons and tailor it specifically custom to his body. And his suit, honestly, I don't think anyone could tell that it came from a department store. It looked amazing. It looked super high-end, super custom, and very tailored to his body. I think it looked amazing. So I definitely think that, you know, you don't have to go with a full custom. You can get it tailored and maybe alter a couple of things like the fit, like the buttons, to make it just feel a lot more custom without that custom price. I think in total we spent maybe $80 on his tailoring, so altogether about $200 for his wedding suit. In my opinion, that is a lot of savings, especially considering that most custom suits starting base price is $500 and can range very much a lot higher than that. So I think those are some ways that you can definitely save some bucks on your dress or your tux for your big day, but still looking very amazing. And then number 5 on our list, and the last point that I want to make in this video for how you can save money on your wedding, is going to be on your bridesmaids and groomsmen. Now, I know recently it's been super mainstream to do these box proposals for your bridesmaids and or groomsmen, but honestly, I feel like these are very much a waste of money, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of the things in the boxes are eventually going to wind up in the trash. So in my opinion, these are so unnecessary and you're wasting so much money, especially if a lot of your bridesmaids or groomsmen live out of state from you. Then you're also not only buying all of the things to make these boxes or buying pre-made boxes, which is even more expensive. Then you're going and you're paying for shipping to ship these boxes off. Now, obviously, if you just have a wide open budget, then this could be something that is definitely pennies to a dollar for you. But if you are looking to save some coin and cut some corners that don't really matter, in my opinion, like this one, then honestly, I would opt out to not participate in the whole proposal boxes for your bridesmaids or groomsmen. I think that you could definitely just FaceTime call them and let them know. I think they'll be just as excited. And then if you want to do something special, you can go on Canva.com. It is actually a really amazing website that you can use. It is completely free, and you can use it to make custom banners, custom invitations, and a whole lot of things like that. A lot of people use it to make thumbnails for YouTube banners. You could literally make anything on there. In my opinion, you could literally go to canva.com. You could make a proposal card on there and then send it digitally, which will literally cost you no money, and I think it'll be really sweet, and they can keep it forever without it winding up in the trash can. And that is a really easy, custom, affordable way to propose to your groomsmen and bridesmaids. Another way you can save money in the groomsmen and bridesmaids department, in my opinion, this shouldn't even really be that much of a thought, is definitely to have your bridesmaid and groomsmen buy their own tux and dresses for the wedding. You and your fiance already have so much to worry about financing for the wedding. In my opinion, the least that your bridesmaids and groomsmen can do is pay for their own wedding tux and wedding dress. You could go and pick out some on a particular website, and you could pick out the suits that you want them to buy and or dresses that you want them to buy. Now, definitely, obviously, be realistic and keep in mind that everyone's finances is not the same. You should definitely keep in mind how much your bridesmaids and groomsmen could possibly afford, and whatever that number is, take it down by a little bit more, because you never know what people's finances actually are like, and then you want to go ahead and send those out so that they can buy them. But definitely keep in mind to keep it in an affordable enough range so that your closest people are not coming extremely out of pocket or making a very uncomfortable situation for themselves. But in my opinion, the least that they can do is definitely buy their own dress and tux for your big day and relieve that stress off of you and your fiance. And then the last way I think that you could save some money on your bridesmaids and or groomsmen, this one gearing a lot towards the bridesmaids, is going to be for them to do their own makeup for the wedding and their own hair, and having the guys get their own haircuts for the wedding or whatever it is. In my opinion, everyone likes to wear a different level of makeup anyways, and everyone has different skin shades and different ways that they like their eyebrows done or different ways they like their hair cut. So instead of you buying a team to do all of the groomsmen haircuts or a team to do all of the girls' makeup or hair, why don't you just give them a overall concept? I want to keep it neutral. I don't want any bold colors. I want updos or whatever, and have them do their own, so that way they can actually be really comfortable with the level of makeup that they have on their face and what kinds of products they're using on their faces, as well as what kind of products in their hair. And they probably know how to navigate their own hair a lot better than a hairstylist who has never worked with them before until the day of. So in my opinion, if you just have them do their own makeup and hair, then this could save you a lot of money in the long run. And of course, you could treat your maid of honor or the mother of the bride to getting their hair and makeup done as a little pamper thank you, because they're probably pitching in some money for the wedding. But you don't have to do it for your whole entire wedding party, is all I'm saying, and that could definitely save you a lot of money. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that there was some helpful things in this video for you and your fiance to consider when trying to have the wedding of your absolute dreams on a budget. It is definitely possible, and don't let anyone tell you how to have your wedding. I think that is just something that we as people kind of get wrapped into sometimes when having a wedding is comparing your wedding to the next person's wedding and comparing it to other people around you that may have gotten married as well. But at the end of the day, just remember your wedding day is your wedding day. You want to love it and you want to love all of the decisions that you and your fiance make for that day. But honestly, just always remember that at the end of the day, as long as you and your fiance become husband and wife on that day, it was a complete success. And yeah, just don't let anyone tell you how your day should go. And don't ever feel like you need to spend money on things that don't make sense for you and your fiance. I think that everyone's finances are different and what everyone wants out of a wedding is different. So maybe you want to consider some of these things so you can save some big bucks and maybe put it just towards your honeymoon or a house. So yeah, I hope that this video was helpful to some of y'all out there who may be thinking about getting married soon or are in the process of planning your wedding. Let me know if any of these tips helped you in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video. And yeah, until the next video, I'll see you all. Bye, loves.